Fear of rejection is a lot worse than actual rejection. Now, what do I mean by this? Too many men live their lives in fear of rejection. They're overly just fixated on what the outcome is, so they're paralyzed by their fear. They're so worried about what could possibly go wrong instead of what could possibly go right. I'll give you a personal anecdote in my life. So when I was in the gym in Japan, this was probably about 2 months ago, I saw this guy, like muscular, lean, jacked, and I was too scared to talk to him at first. I was a bit nervous and I didn't really have the social confidence because I feared awkwardness and rejection. But I just went up to him and started a conversation anyway. And it was the best decision of my life because I was able to form a really good connection. We had a lot in common, I noticed. We were able to discuss a lot of deep topics, ranging from gym workouts to conspiracy theories to dating and so on. And this is just a sign that it's not just about dating, but it's all areas of life. Fearing rejection is going to keep you paralyzed and weak, whereas accepting rejection with open arms is what works. Now, I'm going to give you an unsuccessful example as well. So when I was in the Seijinshiki in Japan, which is like the adult ceremony, so on the year that you turn 20, everybody gathers up from that year group to celebrate adulthood, and I went to it. You have to dress smart and all of that. I made one connection there, but it didn't really last because the stars weren't aligned. But I remember I went up to a guy and a girl there, and they gave me short responses, and the girl just flat out rejected me. But I decided I was not going to let that define my worth, and I'm so glad that I tried my best. I did what I could, but I left with my pride and dignity high, knowing that I tried something that 90% of men would be too scared to do. I attempted to make 3 connections that day. I made one connection. Like I said, it didn't really last because we're just not aligned with each other. There's nothing negative about that person. And the other 2, well, like I said, rejection. But rejection is something you can use to grow. Be proud of yourself that you were brave enough to try. Because if you don't try, you won't get the reward. Now, if we look at more of a dating example, there are 2 choices you can make. One is take risks, make the approaches, build connections. You might get rejected 10, 25, 50, 100 times, but in exchange you get a better connection. Or you do what 90% of men do. You only get rejected 3 times in your life, you decide it's too hard, you throw in the towel, you give up, you complain, you groan, you whine, and then you end up in a low quality relationship. But if you had just persevered, if you had just focused on yourself, if you had just focused on building confidence that was real and not fake through sustained habits over time, then you could just score. And in these situations, you only actually really need to score once. You don't need to constantly be scoring every single time. You don't need to set unrealistic expectations. You just need a win or a couple, and then things are just naturally going to start getting better from there. So it's just a message to everybody that you don't need to be avoiding rejection all the time, because rejection makes a man stronger. In business, dating, friendships, there's always going to be constant rejection, and becoming a man is being okay with dealing with the consequences of rejection, but then also enjoying the fruits of exception, as I've managed to make many good connections. Now, cool, the 90% of people who will just ignore me, or who will try and criticize me, or make some stupid ass comment or whatever, fine, they will always exist. But if I don't fit in with the majority, that's a good sign, because I'm not envious of most people anyway. Most people are just oofy doofies. They're just there criticizing other people when they've not got much going on in their lives themselves. But yeah, thank you very much. I really hope this motivated you to stop fearing rejection and go for what you want.